It's basically Tuesday for the Michigan State Spartans because they ain't playing on Saturday, Ryan. They're playing on Friday. The Broncos, Western Michigan, coming to town, coming off an 8-5 season with head coach Tim Lester and offensive coordinator Mr. Thorne, our Thorne's father. So you know, Ryan, Peyton Thorne, Michigan State quarterback, is going to be ready for this Friday and the Western Michigan Broncos.
He should be, and I know Mel Tucker came out and said that he even talked to Peyton Thorne about going against his dad. I feel like it's probably unnecessary because his dad's not, like the defensive coordinator. I'm sure he can give the defensive coordinator some tips on what his son might struggle with, but at the same time, you're not going against him. Peyton Thorne's not a defensive player going against, his dad's quarterback or something. So there's not really that head-to-head matchup. It's cool that, that his dad is at Western Michigan. And obviously, Jaden Reed was at Western Michigan before he transferred to Michigan State. So I'm sure some of his old teammates are on that, are on the Broncos still as well. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect from Michigan State. I expect them to win. They're 3-touchdown favorites in the game, but I don't know how the secondary is going to look. I feel like it'll probably look better than it actually is because I do expect Michigan State's front seven to be really good. And against a team like Western, where I feel like they could probably just overmatch their offensive line, the secondary is probably not going to have to do, so much hard work. It's like an outfielder when the pitcher's just striking everybody out, and then they don't have anything to do until they have to go up to take the at bat. And I expect Michigan State to roll in this game. I like that it's on Friday, so you get a little bit of Friday night appetizer before you watch the entire Saturday slate of games of college football. That part's cool, but I don't know. I don't think this game's really interesting besides the storyline of Thorne versus Thorne.
Well, look, last year the Broncos boasted the 12th ranked offense in the country, and they got a pretty good running back tandem in Sean Tyler and former Spartan Ladarius Jefferson. But they lose their quarterback, Caleb Ellaby, and they lost Sky Moore, stud wide receiver, who's now on, I think, the Kansas City Chiefs, unless he's been cut. So they've lost that part of that, that offense that took Pitt and beat Pitt, that's they had a lot of scoring ability last year, but you're replacing that quarterback with a redshirt freshman. You're replacing their stud wide receiver, but they still have a running game. And look, last year for Michigan State, that wasn't the thing you wanted to do. Running the ball on Michigan State generally was not a smart idea. The Spartans were pretty good at shutting it down. It really was. The passing game was the way to beat Michigan State. But that's supposedly improved. Look, it can't be any worse. They were literally the worst in all of college football last year. And apparently, the latest word on the defensive backs at Michigan State, Ronald Williams is coming on as of late. Amari Speed has drawn pretty good reviews throughout fall camp as well. So God willing, it's going to be a lot better, not just a little bit better than it was last year. But it's going to be a test on both sides, at least. That'll be interesting to watch because you're going to have the young new quarterback and a new offense for him taking the reins of it, versus a secondary that had all the questions in the world because they were that bad last season.
They were bad, but again, I think the front seven is just going to be so very much improved that even if the secondary isn't improved, their weakness is going to be less devastating because I think they'll just have less to do. Not only in this game, just in the season overall, where the secondary still might hurt you, but I think more often than not, the front seven will be able to kind of mask whatever the secondary isn't able to do well. And if not, then it might be another long season on defense for Michigan State. There's some exciting, new things to watch for Michigan State for sure. Obviously, Jarek Broussard and Jalen Berger are the two transfer running backs. you get to see Jaden Reed again. You get to kind of see if Peyton Thorne has started to take that next step, because I do think he's a really good quarterback, but he had games last year where he wasn't very good. So can he just be more consistent and be better and really be one of the better quarterbacks in the country? I think he can. I think that he has that in him, and that would be pretty exciting if you're a Michigan State fan. Our tight end play should be better this year. I'm excited to see if Malik Carr can take another step after not being so featured last year, but he's a guy who they've kind of been hyping up for Camp 2. And then again, obviously the defense with the new transfers that they have, whether it's Bogle or Boulay or Winman. I think there's just a lot that you can kind of look at on defense and be excited about. You already mentioned him, your speed, obviously. Xavier Henderson's coming back. So I do expect it to be a pretty nice win for Michigan State. I expect the atmosphere to be pretty good. It could be a night game in Spartan Stadium, and it's just going to be exciting. Some new juice for the football season. Probably won't start as well as last season did, where he had the 75-yard touchdown on the first play of the game. But you never know. Maybe they bring back their flea flicker and it works again, and then everybody just goes crazy.
Yeah, more than that, I want to see consistency. This offense should score the ball almost every time it touches it against Western Michigan. I'm not going to say that for against Ohio State or other schools, but against Western Michigan, this offense, look, between Peyton Thorne and Jaden Reed, you have got chemistry for days, and I agree with you. Peyton Thorne should be one of the better quarterbacks in college football. And he didn't have a bad year last year. It was shaky at times, but for the most part, he was pretty good, and Reed was great. So it'll be great to see them, and they should completely continue what they worked on last year with just the connection that those two have. And then you got, like you said, Wisconsin transfer Jalen Berger, who's coming in, and you also got Jake Broussard from Colorado coming in. So we don't have a Kenneth Walker number one obvious bell cow, but we have two really good, at least what I think should be really good running backs to go with the passing game that I think we're going to be more balanced this year. And I think we have the weapons where we need them, where against a school like Western Michigan, where we should have the advantage in talent across the board, I don't want to see Michigan State struggle like we've seen them do against lesser competition in the past. I want to see them just continue to put the pressure on the opposing defense, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, and hopefully, obviously, more touchdowns than field goals. But 75% of the offensive possessions should end with a score for Michigan State, in my mind, in this first game against Western Michigan. I'll be paying attention for that more than anything else as far as individual play, of course, but I want to see the team consistently move the ball down the field and put points on the board. And I think a game like this against a, for lack of a better term, again, lesser opponent, I think they should.
Yeah, they should, and they also have a, not that I guess that you want to see the field goal kicker so much, but they have a kicker battle too. They brought in Ben Patton from Auburn, and then they have 2 or 3 other kickers on the roster. And Mel Tucker in his press conference today on Monday said he feels good about where the kicker is, like the kicker spot is, and that he thought Ben Patton had a good day, but he didn't name a starter. So I don't know, I guess, how we'll see that, if they have to kick a couple field goals, or is it going to be a different guy? Is it going to be a Michigan quarterback situation where one guy's kicking one field goal and then another guy is kicking another? Will they bring different guys out for extra points? And if someone misses an extra point, they're just definitely not it. So I'm kind of interested to see how that plays itself out. And, I think that's honestly one of the more interesting battles for Michigan State. Not that I think there's a lot of battles, I guess, regardless. I feel like the roster is probably pretty much set to where it's going to be. But I'm interested to see the kicking battle, even though I don't necessarily want to see the field goal kicker. I'd rather score touchdowns. But, if one of these guys gets an attempt from 50, I wouldn't be, too opposed to seeing that, just to see what happens. Does it go in? Does it have the leg power? Does it, is it way off? Does it hit the post? So I'll be interested to see that.
Well, we got time. Again, the Spartans and the Broncos will be kicking it off on Friday night at Spartan Stadium. Our show will record Thursday, so we'll make our predictions there, and you'll get our predictions Friday morning when our show comes out for all of you guys to watch. That's going to do it.
Hey, Ryan Griffin here. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Griffin and Bass. Be sure to give us your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to click the bell to receive the latest notifications from DSN, and subscribe for breaking news, community blogs, polls, contests, and other content.